grade 8 students, faculty, staff, invited guests, and especially our honored veterans to our annual O'Donnell Middle School Veterans Day Assembly. Regardless of what day of the week it falls, Veterans Day is always observed on November 11th. This is because on the 11th hour of the 11th day of the 11th month, the fighting in World War I ended in 1918 with an armistice, or truce. Armistice Day celebrated all the veterans who served and fought in World War I, the greatest war of its time. Although it aimed to be the war to end all wars, World War I was followed by World War II and the Korean War and many more to come. Because of this, President Eisenhower signed a law in 1954 changing Armistice Day to Veterans Day. We want to pay tribute to the historical significance of Veterans Day on November 11th, but also want to ensure that we honor every veteran who has ever served our country. Before we begin, I want to take some time to thank all of the people who made this event possible. I want to thank all of the veterans who have generously given their time to be with us here today. I want to thank Mr. Nestor Kamara and the custodial staff for setting up the cafeteria for our assembly. Thank you to Mr. Guy Kopp and Ms. Leona Hodglow and the food services team for providing a great breakfast for our veterans this morning. Thank you to Mrs. Bowmanfield and Mr. DeFrias for preparing the chorus and band performances. And thank you to Smack Television and Mr. Jeff Pickett for joining us today and sharing this special event with our community. Finally, I want to give a special thank you to Mrs. Valaire for putting together this amazing event. Our Veterans Day Assembly is one of our favorite days here at OMS, and we look forward to it each year. I also want to thank our school committee chairperson, Ms. Catherine Weiss, for joining us here today to join with us. Mrs. Valaire will now get the assembly started.
General George S. Patton Jr. once said, "The soldier is the army. No army is better than its soldiers. The soldier is also a citizen. In fact, the highest obligation and privilege of citizenship is that of bearing arms for one's country." Veterans Day is a day to celebrate, honor, and give thanks to all veterans for their service, bravery, citizenship, patriotism, love of country, and willingness to serve. America's veterans have experienced a variety of wars and conflicts in each of our military branches: Army, Marines, Air Force, Navy, and Coast Guard. Some served abroad, while others stayed stateside, but all of them signed up for their country and made enormous sacrifices, including time away from their homes, friends, and families to protect America and all it stands for: freedom, equality, and justice. Today, we are here to honor and thank our local veterans. The veterans at this assembly were kind enough to participate in interviews earlier this morning, sharing their personal military experience and advice with some of your fellow 8th graders. I encourage you to listen closely, as in doing so, you will learn how each protected our freedom and safety, risked their lives for the people they have never met, and continue to help us learn about our history and the world around us. We will now start our Veteran Voices Share with Mariana. Come on up, Mariana.
Hello, my name is Mariana Borba, and I'm honored to introduce you to Sergeant Janet Ronald. Sergeant Ronald grew up in Brockton. At the age of 18, Sergeant Ronald was born poorly, and when she was the youngest, she loved history, and that's why she joined the Air Force. Sergeant Ronald served in the Air Force for 16 years. When she was in the Air Force, she traveled to many places like Westover, Philippines, Germany, Ohio, Mississippi, Texas, etc. In the Air Force, Sergeant Ronald was a personnel office management. As an airman, Sergeant Ronald enjoyed the ability to travel new cultures, serve her country. Sergeant Ronald would like you to know to follow your dreams. Thank you, Sergeant Ronald, for your service to our country.
now we will hear about Mr. Brian Turner, who will be presented by J.C. Champagne-Millard.
Hello, my name is J.C. Champagne-Millard, and I am pleased to introduce Mr. Brian Turner. Mr. Turner moved to Stoughton when he was 13, but grew up in Dorchester, Boston. At age 19, Mr. Turner wanted to go see the world and travel. Mr. Turner served in the military for a total of 26 years and served in the Army and National Guard in Massachusetts for a total of 22 years. He was also in Texas and Vietnam for 8 months. In the Army, Mr. Turner was an inventory from age 19 to 30 and a recruiter from 30 to 50. As an Army man, Mr. Turner valued the friendship and camaraderie he got from the Army. Mr. Turner would like to say that you students should all stay in school and the Army is a real option. Thank you, Mr. Turner, for your service.
And now we will hear about Mr. Francis Cowgill by Sophia Griffiths.
Hello, my name is Sophia Griffiths, and I'm proud to introduce Mr. Francis Cowgill. Mr. Cowgill grew up in Stoughton, Massachusetts. At age 20, Mr. Cowgill joined the military because he was drafted, and a fact is he got drafted too much after he got married. Mr. Cowgill served in the Army for 2 years. He stationed in Korea for 17 months, and he was there when the Korean War was going on and when it ended. In the Army, Mr. Cowgill was in the Signal Corps, which means he had communications to different companies and the front lines. As a soldier, Mr. Cowgill enjoyed when they gave him his honorable discharge to end his service. Mr. Cowgill would like you to know that you should take advantage of the GI Bills, and if you can get education for free at no cost, take it. Thank you, Mr. Cowgill, for your service.
And next we are going to hear about Mr. Dion Dos Santos, presented by Joel Omotiji.
Hello, I'm Joel Omotiji, and I'm honored to introduce Mr. Dion Dos Santos. Mr. Dion Dos Santos. Mr. Dos Santos grew up in Norwich, Connecticut. At age 22, Mr. Dos Santos joined the military because after college, he wanted to be a police officer and decided he would need some experience first. Mr. Dos Santos served in the Army for 3 years and now serves in the National Guard. He was stationed in Fort Stewart, Georgia, and he was deployed to South Korea for 9 months from October 2020 to July 2021. In the Army, Mr. Dos Santos was a 19 Delta, and he scouted enemy troops. As a member of National Guard, his goal is to become a military police officer. As a soldier, Mr. Dos Santos enjoyed the experience he had with others and connecting and being able to connect with others even after his service in the Army. Mr. Dos Santos wants you to know that you should choose to join the Army for the right reasons, such as to better yourself, because there are many benefits, but you should have a plan for yourself. Thank you, Mr. Dos Santos.
Okay, before we move on to our next presenter, and before we continue on with the presentation, we're going to take a quick pause and hear from our OMS chorus, who will be singing the national anthem.
Stripes and bright stars through the
Thank you. And we are going to be continuing with our presentation of veterans, and we're going to be learning about Mr. Mark Hausman, presented by Aiden Rodriguez.
Hello, my name is Aiden Rodriguez. I'm honored to introduce Mr. Mark Hausman. Mr. Hausman grew up in Stoughton, Massachusetts, and at age 18, Mr. Hausman joined the military because his friends got drafted, and he decided as a citizen he had an obligation to join the Army and serve for his country. Mr. Hausman served in the Army for 3 years. He was deployed in Vietnam and got on a ship that took 32 days to get to Vietnam and fought in many battles. In the Army, Mr. Hausman was an infantryman. As a soldier, Mr. Hausman enjoyed marching, teaching young soldiers how to survive. He also learned how to fire many different weapons. He was able to navigate through a jungle and know where he was and learn how to lead as a sergeant. Mr. Hausman would like you to know it's important to give back to your country and to have a place to come from. Thank you, Mr. Hausman, for your service to our country.
And next we're going to be hearing about Mr. Bill Snyder, presented by Krista McCann.
Hello, my name is Krista Maria. I am honored to introduce Mr. Bill Snyder. Mr. Snyder grew up in Chicago, Illinois. At age 19, Mr. Snyder joined the military because he volunteered to join after going to college to be an aircraft mechanic. Mr. Snyder served in the Air Force for 4 years. He was stationed in McGuire Air Force Base, New Jersey, and Saigon, Vietnam. He fought in the Vietnam War beginning April 28, 1969 to 1970. In the Air Force, Mr. Snyder was an airframe repairman, which meant he had to do with anything that had to do with the structure of an airplane. As an airman, Mr. Snyder enjoyed meeting new people of all backgrounds and lifestyles. Mr. Snyder would like you to know that whatever you do, do it as best as you can. Thank you, Mr. Snyder, for your service to our country.
And next we will hear about Mr. Tony Gray, presented by Kayla Ortiz-Infante.
Hello, my name is Kayla Ortiz, and I am honored to introduce Mr. Tony Gray. Mr. Gray grew up in Boston, and at age 18, he volunteered to join the military because he wasn't too good at school in his opinion. He wanted to be a computer programmer, but got denied and transitioned to engineering. Mr. Gray served in the Air Force for 3.5 years, and he was stationed in San Antonio, Texas. Later, he went to the tech school to know how everything worked. He was on a base called the Night Owl in Thailand, where they flew at night for bombing. Though the toxins they used for the enemies in the jungles caused medical defects in the soldiers who were traveling back. In the Air Force, Mr. Gray was a crew chief, which means he was responsible for readying planes for practice and making sure that there were no defects. As an airman, Mr. Gray enjoyed the opportunities he got since they helped him through his path. Mr. Gray would like you to know that if you're unsure of any other paths in your college or future, service offers opportunity. Thank you, Mr. Gray, for your service.
And next we will hear about Ms. Catherine McFadden, presented by Nora Turner.
Hello, my name is Nora Turner, and I'm proud to introduce Ms. Kate McFadden. Ms. McFadden grew up in Burlington, Massachusetts, and moved to Stoughton 12 years ago. At age 20, Ms. McFadden joined the military because she wanted to meet new people in some other countries. Ms. McFadden served in the Navy for 4 4 years. She was stationed in Little Creek, Virginia, and deployed in the Gulf of Aden. In the Navy, Ms. McFadden was a boatswain's mate in 3rd class and a sailor. Ms. McFadden enjoyed meeting people and traveling. She learned to stay calm under pressure. Ms. McFadden would like you to know that she wants to stay in school and keep reading. Thank you, Ms. McFadden, for your service to our country.
And next we will hear about Mr. Joe Fustello, presented by Rennie Fabican.
Hello, my name is Rennie Fabican. I am pleased to introduce you to Mr. Joseph Fustello. Mr. Fustello grew up in Stoughton, Massachusetts. At age 18, Mr. Fustello joined the military because during the time of the Vietnam War, he knew he could be drafted, so to have a choice, he enlisted into the Air Force. Mr. Fustello served in the Air Force for 4 years. He was stationed in Delaware, Florida, Vietnam, and Massachusetts. In the Air Force, Mr. Fustello was an aircraft mechanic. As an airman, Mr. Fustello was able to do a lot of traveling, and he was able to go to many new places and meet new people, which he enjoyed. Mr. Fustello would like you to know that you should enjoy your life and you can do anything you want to do. Thank you, Mr. Fustello, for your service work.
And now we will hear about Mr. Dennis Walsh, presented by Natalie Harmon.
Hello, my name is Natalie Harmon. I'm honored to introduce Mr. Dennis Walsh. Mr. Walsh grew up here in Stoughton, Massachusetts. At age 19, Mr. Walsh joined the military because he wanted to do something different and he wanted an adventure. Mr. Walsh served in the Navy for 26 years. He was deployed in Guantanamo Bay, Cuba for 6 months, in Antarctica for 4 months, and in Iraq for 2 weeks. In the Navy, Mr. Walsh was a first-class CV combat warfare equipment operator. As a sailor, Mr. Walsh enjoyed the friendships he made and the places he went. Mr. Walsh wanted you to know that you can do other things to further your education other than college, maybe by joining the military. Thank you, Mr. Walsh, for your service to our country.
And the next veteran we'll hear about is Ms. Teresa Tapper, presented by Katie Gorman.
Hello, my name is Katie Gorman, and I am honored to introduce Ms. Teresa Tapper. Ms. Tapper grew up in Michigan. At age 18, Ms. Tapper joined the military because her father, Art McAllister, was a career soldier. She also went for the adventure, travel, and GI Bill to college. Ms. Tapper served in the Army for 2 years. At the time, there was a 2-year train and travel program in Stuttgart, Germany during the Vietnam War. In the Army, Ms. Tapper was an MLS. She trained as a generator operator, but worked managing the youth center. As a soldier, Ms. Tapper enjoyed the travel and meeting all different kinds of people and learning about all the different kinds of culture, especially traveling around Europe. She got to work with people of different cultures and races for the first time. Ms. Tapper let you know that she feels proud to have served our country, and she says it's very important to do your part and appreciates the opportunity she was given. Thank you, Ms. Tapper, for your service to our country.
And our next veteran is Mr. Michael Pizarra, presented by Ilias Ferris and John Marco.
Hello, I'm John Marco and
Ilias Ferris.
I'm honored to introduce Mr. Mike Pizarro. Mr. Pizarro grew up in Malden, Massachusetts. At age 20, Mr. Peraza joined the military because he dropped out of college and his friends were in the military, so he joined in 1973. Mr. Peraza served the Marine Corps for 2 years. He was a Marine station in the Marine barracks.
In the Marine barracks, Mr. Pizarra was a ceremonial grunt, and as a Marine, Mr. Pizarra enjoyed the thrill of learning hard discipline and how to conduct himself in the public eye. Mr. Pizarra would like to know that always try to do the right thing and don't succumb to peer pressure. Thank you, Mr. Pizarra, for your service work.
Our next veteran is Mr. Nate Derby, presented by Tori Chasen.
Hello, my name is Tori Chasen, and I'm honored to introduce you guys to Mr. Nate Derby. Mr. Derby grew up in Delaware. At age 22, Mr. Derby joined the military because his family had been in the military and he wanted to give up the tradition. It's also something he's always wanted to do. Mr. Derby served in the Coast Guard for 5 years. He was stationed in Boston and Alameda, California. In the Coast Guard, Mr. Derby was a law enforcer and intelligence. As a Coast Guardman, Mr. Derby enjoyed doing all of the mission, seeing the country, and meeting all of the people. Mr. Derby would like you to know that if you work hard with education, you can do anything for the country. Thank you, Mr. Derby, for your service to our country.
And finally, we are going to, we're thanking Mr. Jacob Tapper, who was able to make it last minute today. As a member of the Army, Mr. Tapper served in Iraq. Thank you, Mr. Tapper, for your service.
Thank you, Ms. Bowman Field and the 8th grade chorus. So, it is now my honor to present the O'Donnell Middle School's Veteran of the Year Award. This award is given to an assembly participant who greatly impacted their country during their time of service and continues to positively impact their community today. A lifelong Stoughton resident, our 2024 Veteran of the Year, enlisted in the Army National Guard on June 14, 1971. A recruiter for the Army National Guard for over 20 years, he went on to serve in the Vietnam War and was later activated to active duty in support of Operation Iraqi Freedom, where he served in both Kuwait and Iraq. Numerous military awards and decorations for this veteran include the National Defense Service Medal with Bronze Service Star, Air Medal, Armed Forces Reserve Medal, Army Achievement Medal, Army Commendation Medal 2nd Award, Army Achievement Medal 6th Award, Army National Guard Recruiter Badge, Master Career Counselor Badge, Republic of Vietnam Campaign Medal, Vietnam Service Medal with 2 Bronze Service Stars, Vietnam National Defense Service Medal, Global War on Terrorism Service Medal, Combat Infantry Badge, and Iraq Campaign Medal. Upon his retirement from the military, this highly decorated veteran chose not to rest. Instead, he decided to continue working and give back to his community by becoming the Town of Stoughton's Veteran Services Officer. Now a nationally accredited County Veteran Service Officer, he fights for local veterans, helping them get the health care and benefits they so very much deserve. It is also important to note that as much as this veteran encourages and motivates his peers, he has also made a lasting impact on his own family. A loving husband and proud father of 2, one of this veteran's daughters was inspired to follow in his military footsteps. Enlisting in the Army in 2007, Major Allison Conlon served in both Kuwait and Iraq, just like her dad, as a platoon leader and convoy commander. Becoming a fellow, highly decorated Army National Guardsman, Major Conlon also inherited her father's ongoing desire to support veterans in the community, currently serving America's heroes as a VA nurse. Although we can never fully repay our veterans, on Veterans Day, we thank our veterans for their selflessness and commit to do what we can to improve the quality of life for our veterans and military families in communities across America. Truly embodying Elizabeth Estes' words as a veteran, military family member, and strong advocate for both, congratulations to you, Mr. Brian Turner, the O'Donnell Middle School's 2024 Veteran of the Year.
Well, I don't know how they did this because I had no clue whatsoever. I don't know who was in on it, but I got a feeling I know who it was, especially all the information they got about it. Thank you very much. I really do appreciate it. I never do anything for the awards. I do it because I enjoy it. And as the Veteran Service Officer, I also like to mention a couple of things we have coming this weekend. This Saturday, we have the reflagging of the graves. Every year, Memorial Day and Veterans Day, we refresh the flags at all the graveyards for veterans in town. Anybody who wants to join, welcome to join in. You can get all the information online. And also, we have the parade on Monday. Hopefully, we get some decent weather, but the parade will be starting at the VFW Club on Seaver Street, the new address. Going to the town hall, then to Faction Park, and then finish up at the VFW. You're all welcome to attend to that. I understand the band will be there. Also, we have a square dedication for a World War II hero, the Horan family, and that is in the corner of Drake and School Street at 1:30 on Monday, and you're all welcome to attend that too. All right, thank you.
All right, so to wrap up our ceremony here, a few more words from little Mrs. Valaire. Veterans protect our democracy, our way of life. Determined to keep America safe and free, they are willing to sacrifice their time, effort, even their lives for the good of others. I hope that you leave our assembly today as mindful and appreciative young citizens who recognize that Veterans Day is an extremely important holiday that's not actually about us at all. The true purpose of Veterans Day is to honor and thank the millions of military members who have protected our country, our rights, and our freedoms. In the words of John F. Kennedy, as we express our gratitude, we must never forget that the highest appreciation is not to utter words, but to live by them. Remember these men and women's stories. Remember their advice. Be good citizens. Be thankful for the rights and freedoms you have, and put them into action to make your community a better place. Recognize that we would not be the land of the free without our veterans who have fought and continue to fight for you. Ensure that the sacrifices made by our nation's bravest are never ignored and that their memories are never forgotten. Get involved in Veterans Day activities, especially the ones Mr. Turner mentioned happening here in Stoughton this weekend. And be sure to always say thank you to veterans, not just on November 11th, but every day of the year. To all of the veterans here with us today, the O'Donnell Middle School sincerely thanks you for your service, and we wish you all a very happy Veterans Day weekend. That concludes our ceremony, so if you will all please stand and join me in giving our wonderful veterans a big OMS thank you and proper send-off.